Millions of albums sold-out concerts across the world, and songs that generations continue to sing by heart. Today, the name Enrique Iglesias immediately brings to mind one of the greatest figures in Latin pop. But this is not simply the story of a successful music career. It is also the story of a young man determined to build his own identity while growing up as the son of one of the world's most famous entertainers. Enrique Miguel Iglesias Preisler was born on May 8, 1975, in Madrid, the capital of Spain. His father was the legendary singer Julio Iglesias, who had already sold millions of records around the world. His mother was Isabel Preisler, one of Spain's most recognized television presenters and journalists. From the outside, they appeared to be the perfect family. But while Enrique was still a child, that image began to fall apart. His parents' divorce left a lasting mark on his early years. After the separation, Enrique grew up with his mother and tried to live as normal a life as possible, away from the cameras. Yet being the son of a world-famous family was never easy. Media attention followed him everywhere. Because of security concerns, the family eventually moved to Miami, opening an entirely new chapter in his life. A different country, a different culture and a new language. Enrique found himself growing up between two worlds, both personally and culturally. As he entered his teenage years, his passion for music became impossible to ignore. But there was one enormous obstacle standing in his way. Most people saw him only as Julio Iglesias' son. If he wanted to become a musician, he would first have to prove that his success came from his own talent rather than from his family name. That is why he made one of the most courageous decisions of his career. He sent his demo recordings to record companies without revealing his true identity. According to many accounts, he even introduced himself under a different name, claiming to be an unknown singer from Guatemala. He wanted people to judge his voice before they judged his surname. That bold decision soon paid off. A record company believed in his songs and offered him his first professional recording contract. Only afterward did they discover who he really was. Many people were surprised, because those who had signed him insisted that they had chosen a talented new artist, not the son of Julio Iglesias. His debut Spanish-language album, released in 1995, became an unexpected success. It sold millions of copies and quickly found audiences across Latin America and Europe. Winning a Grammy Award became one of the first defining milestones of his career. From that moment on, people began to recognize him not simply as the heir to a famous name, but as a talented young artist creating his own legacy. But Enrique was not satisfied with becoming a Latin music star alone. He had a much bigger dream: to succeed in the English-speaking market as well. It was a tremendous risk. At the time, very few Latin artists had managed to establish lasting international careers. Everything changed in 1999 with the release of Bailamos. The song climbed to the top of international charts. It was followed by worldwide hits including Be With You, Hero, Escape, and Rhythm Divine, transforming Enrique Iglesias into not only one of Latin music's greatest stars but also one of the defining artists of global pop. The early 2000s also marked the worldwide explosion of Latin pop. Ricky Martin, Shakira, Jennifer Lopez and Enrique Iglesias all reached extraordinary international success during the same era. The media constantly compared them with one another. Enrique, however, rarely spoke about competition. Instead, he preferred to let his own music and artistic identity speak for themselves. Throughout his career, he skillfully blended romantic pop, dance music and Latin rhythms into a style that became instantly recognizable. He adapted naturally to changing musical trends and continued reaching new generations of listeners. That ability to evolve became one of the main reasons why he remained relevant for decades. Success, however, did not come without criticism. Some music critics questioned his live performances, while others argued that his voice was not technically extraordinary. His fans saw something very different. They believed Enrique connected with millions not through perfect technique, but through honesty, emotion and genuine stage presence. Perhaps that was exactly what made him unique. His audiences were not searching for perfection, they were searching for authenticity. When it came to his private life, Enrique always remained remarkably reserved. His relationship with former world number 1 tennis player Anna Kournikova, which began in the late 1990s, attracted enormous media attention for years. Even so, the couple chose to keep their personal lives away from the spotlight whenever possible. Even after becoming parents, they continued protecting their family's privacy, an increasingly rare decision in the world of international celebrities. As the music industry entered the digital era, many artists struggled to adapt. Enrique Iglesias became one of those who embraced the transformation successfully. His songs accumulated billions of streams across digital platforms, introducing his music to entirely new generations of listeners. While his classic hits continued to be played around the world, his newer releases ensured that he remained an active presence in contemporary music. Looking back today, Enrique Iglesias' story is about far more than hit songs and commercial success. He was born as the son of one of the greatest musical legends in history. Yet he chose to build his career not upon inheritance, but upon his own determination. The young man who once hid his identity in order to be judged fairly eventually became one of the world's most recognized pop icons. Perhaps Enrique Iglesias' greatest achievement is that today, people no longer think of him first as Julio Iglesias' son. Instead, they remember him as an artist whose own music left an unforgettable mark on generations around the world. Because true icons are remembered not simply for their achievements, but because they find the courage to step out of someone else's shadow and create a light entirely their own. Enrique Iglesias' story is a perfect example of that journey. Enrique Iglesias' story reminds us that sometimes the greatest challenge in life is finding the courage to step beyond someone else's shadow and discover our own light. Today, millions remember him not only for his unforgettable songs, but also for the inspiring journey he built through determination, perseverance and authenticity. If you enjoyed this documentary and would like to discover the untold stories behind the world's most influential pop icons, don't forget to join the Pop Icon AI community. By subscribing to the channel, you'll be among the first to watch our upcoming documentaries while supporting this journey of preserving the stories that shaped popular culture. In our next documentary, we'll once again go beyond the spotlight to explore the remarkable story behind another global cultural icon. Because behind every icon is a real human story that changed the world. See you in the next documentary.